gentlemen, my name is Mark Twain, and I've been asked to come here tonight to make an impromptu speech. I'm not talking about the real impromptu, I'm talking about the practiced. It takes me about 2 or 3 weeks to put together a good impromptu speech. I was introduced by a lawyer who was a deacon down at the local church. Now, I don't know how that happened, but they told me he was. And he put his hands in his pockets, and he ran back and he said, "Ladies and gentlemen, we have with us tonight Mark Twain, a humorist who is truly funny." Well, I was struck speechless by this complimentary thunderbolt. I'd never heard a compliment so beautifully phrased. But we had a rarer creature in our midst than a humorist that was truly funny. We had a lawyer that kept his hands in his own pockets. Well, I decided that the next time I travel, I shall travel by freight train. Freight train, take me home. Where I'll go, I'll never roam. Watch that old Mississippi River flow down to my Missouri hometown. Freight train, going so fast. Freight train, going so fast. Please don't say what train I'm on. They won't know where I've gone. I remember the day I was born. I hadn't any teeth. My mother was glad. I want to thank you for singing, those of you that sang along, but I particularly want to thank those of you that didn't. I hate to hear anybody sing along when they don't know the words. It's an irritation to me. And I make it a habit never to smoke around children. I didn't start smoking myself till I was about 9 or 10 years old. And they told me then that I'd have to stop smoking, and said it would take 10 years off of my life. And I did stop smoking for about 3 or 4 hours. And then I got to thinking, well, a decade wouldn't be worth living without any smoking in it. When I was just a young man trying to escape the gallows, I went out to San Francisco. I was looking for a job out there, but I was particular about what kind of job I would get. I didn't want to work. So I became a newspaper reporter. I hated to do it, but I couldn't find honest employment. I was the correspondent to the Congress, that grand old benevolent society for the helpless, and I reported on the inmates there. Well, it was a very entertaining experience, don't you see? I've never seen a body of men with tongues so handy and information so scarce. Why, they could talk a week without getting rid of an idea. If one of those men had been on hand when the deity was going to say, "Let there be light," we wouldn't have had it. I learned from this. I'm going to give you some advice. If you got a damn fool in your community, send him to Congress. They'll never find it out. Give me that old-time religion. Just come on out with it. Now you can't depend on the gentleman sitting next to you to begin to sing. because he's sitting there waiting for you to sing. And if we keep waiting on each other, we'll be here all night. So just jump in there and sing it all together now. Give me that old time religion. Give me that old time religion. Give me that old time religion. It's good enough for me. All right. A lot of people ask me, they say, why do you always wear that white suit? And, well, I have hobnobbed around with aristocracy. I've traveled the whole world over. I associated with savages and common, everyday, ordinary people. And I found out that clothes make the man. Naked people get no respect. A shower and apple hanging from a tree. Every time that Cindy passed, she'd take a ride and me. Get along home, Cindy, Cindy, get along home. Get along home, Cindy, Cindy, I'll marry you someday. Now, Huckleberry Finn was a real boy. He was a young boy that grew up back there in Hannibal, and he was most an orphan because his father was the town drunk. Well, actually, he was one of two town drunks because we were a growing community. And since his father was a town drunk, he didn't take care of him, so he was pretty much had to take care of himself. And so he was ignorant and unwashed and underfed. But he had as good a heart as any boy you'd ever hope to meet. And he was totally independent. And I guess that's why he was continually happy. And we sought out his company. And since his company was forbidden to us by our parents, why, we sought it out all the more. I'd like to read you a little piece from Huckleberry Finn. Well, in this book, Huckleberry tells his story in his very own words.